What's going on, everybody? You have Tone here, back after a long hiatus of, if you want to call it that. But long story short, did have some personal stuff come up in my life, so I put that on the back burner I put recording on the back burner for now, and decided to take care of my family issues first before I decided to jump back into doing anything from a recording standpoint. And while I was away taking care of my business, I'll go a little bit more into detail in my next video. I don't want to go on and on about that sort of stuff, but basically what I'm here to do today is basically give my own thoughts about the recent Smogon tier shift for July of 2019, and it mainly affected the tier I main, being the PU tier, and pretty much the fact that PU essentially lost pretty much the best Pokemon, the best all-around versatile Pokemon in Mesprit. So Mesprit is no longer in PU, it rose to NU. I don't know the entire reasoning behind Mesprit rising. Apparently people were spamming it a lot on the ladder. I don't know what Mesprit specifically does in the NU tier, as I don't really play NU as much, but I'm not going to get all upset about what happened or what made Mesprit used so much, or somebody was spamming it a lot on the ladder. But that's not really what I'm here to do, and just pretty much just going to try to break down what happened between what we lost and what we gained. And pretty much Mesprit was the only thing we lost, and it was a huge loss because, like I mentioned, Mesprit was the one mon that pretty much held the tier together because of the fact that it was such a versatile Pokemon, between being able to be run defensively with Stealth Rock, a momentum grabber with U-turn, healing wish support, and even more offensive sets with Calm Mind, Z-move, which saw a lot of usage, or not a lot of usage, but it popped up a lot during the this year's installment of the PUPO, which was just decimated a lot of teams that were unprepared for Calm Mind Mesprit. And even other sets like Scarf, Specs, I don't have those sort of sets up on the screen, but basically it was roughly like a good 5-6 sets, arguably potentially 7. Specs wasn't used that much, more so less Specs and more so Expert Belt to bluff, being locked in with Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, Hidden Power, Ground, or Fighting to deal with stuff like Alolan Sandslash, and stuff like that. But basically, Mesprit being gone, it's a bit annoying. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Mesprit being gone is just a huge deal for anyone who plays it. Some might see this as a means of well, I'm grateful that it's gone, because the more offensive variants of Mesprit were so problematic to prep for, and based on team structure or team preview, Mesprit can do a lot of work in those situations where after a Calm Mind you're just kind of screwed and whatnot. And just having a fighting check in general is just something like Mesprit, of all things, is just so big to have for those teams that need that sort of role to be fulfilled. Mesprit was that main mon in the tier that you put Mesprit in a role and it fulfills that role, whether it is the main focus of the team or whether its role is just to get up rocks, get momentum, healing wish. It would do that job and then some. And Mesprit being gone leaves a pretty wide gap in that sort of role where people are scrambling around and asking, well, what is the replacement for Mesprit? And the bottom line here, I'm just going to be very blunt about that, is the fact that there is no replacement for Mesprit. There is no one Pokemon in the tier that can ever accomplish the type of stuff that Mesprit can do, or the stuff that Mesprit does on a team that can be fulfilled by other mods. Yes, there are other Psychic types in the tier that could potentially fill the role of an offensive Psychic type and fighting check, but in terms of like a defensive mon, there is stuff like some other stuff like Musharna. People have brought up stuff like Mr. Mime for debate in terms of a replacement, but overall it don't really match up to what Mesprit can bring to a team, both offensively and defensively. And even myself, having tried different Pokemon to fulfill the role of Mesprit as an offensive user, my own personal experience, and this is just basically how I build for PU, my main go-to mon in replacing Mesprit. Now you don't have to quote me on this. You don't have to follow my my structure or my thought process into this. But the first and foremost, I shout out to Evie Garrow, who pointed this mod in my direction when I played her. But there was a game for DPL where she brought Beheeyem against me, and Beheeyem was just a problem just basically for my team structure, because I really didn't have much for not just Beheeyem, but like offensive Psychic types in general were really kind of weak to my team, or it was a really bad matchup in terms of like me dealing with Beheeyem, because I didn't really have much of a good switch in. While Beheeyem is no Mesprit, from an offensive standpoint, Beheeyem can function pretty decently as a offensive fighting check, quote unquote, but at the same time though, I'm getting a little bit off track here, but it's not really the mon that replaces Mesprit. As I already talked about, Mesprit is a mon that really cannot be replaced in terms of stuff like a fighting check. And what makes this even funnier is during the tier shift, not only did we lose our best Gloomon and one of our most prominent and potent fighting checks, the mons we gained back are all weak to fighting. So yeah, it's kind of a very weird trade-off in the sense of, did we really gain that much in terms of what we lost? And from looking at it this way, the answer really is most likely no. But we'll see what happens as the meta adjusts to this major shift in viability with other Pokemon going to be a lot more used because of us losing Mesprit. And basically, with us losing Mesprits, fighting types in general become a whole lot better, not because of the mons we got, but also because of the tier losing its best fighting checks. So stuff like Girder, Primeape, Hitmonchan to a lesser extent is going to be a huge problem, and we'll definitely see a lot more usage as the meta adjusts. So with that out of the way, it's only been a couple of minutes, but anyway, I'm just going to jump right into the mons that we gained for this July tier shift. So the first Pokemon we have here, we have Cinccino. This is just I think this is pretty much the main set, and again, with these sets you don't have to like follow these sets like to the dot in this sense, but in any case, Cinccino gaining another fast Pokemon is just nice. Having something that that naturally outspeeds stuff like Lycanroc, to hit it with a Bullet Seed, that can screw up like potential lead Focus Sash. Lycanroc that try to get up rocks, they forced it out because of Bullet Seed, bypassing the Focus Sash, knocking it out, and outspeed stuff like Dodrio. Speed Ties with Alolan Persian. And yeah, Cinccino is a Pokemon that we had back in beta, and not gonna lie, I was a little bit iffy about Cinccino dropping to PU, if only according to the fact that the first thing that popped into my head when it came to seeing Cinccino is, I know a lot of people have the mindset of, well, why is the standard Cinccino set like running like King's Rock? Because King's Rock with Skill Link, all multi-hit attacks that Cinccino goes for hits 5 times. You have an increased chance of flinching the target, and that it sounds trollish. I know some people have brought up the fact that it's a lot better than running like Life Orb or Choice Band, because of the fact that you're not wearing yourself down with a Life Orb recoil, and with Choice Band you're not locking yourself into a move. King's Rock can at the very least, like, you get a chance, like, I don't know the number off my head, like a 41% chance to flinch the opponent with Tail Slap or Bullet Seed, or any contact move has a chance to flinch if the move itself doesn't have a flinch chance on top of it. And yeah, just having something fast and annoying like this can be a little bit prominent for the fact that we lost, well, not even the fact that we lost Mesprit, it's more the fact that we gained another strong and fast attacker with momentum with U-turn. So yeah, it can be really, really annoying to try to fit in another check to Cinccino, while at the same time we also having stuff like Kangaskhan and Stoutland in the tier as normal type wall breakers. So potential normal spam is an option in terms of Cinccino, just because of having that a fast normal type Pokemon to go with a slow normal type wall breaker. As like I said, the aforementioned Stoutland can just blow defensive walls away with stab return, and it can absorb status for Cinccino. Same thing somewhat with Kangaskhan's case in terms of like being fake out. It can be run with Kangaskhan on Spike on Hazard Stack teams with like Qwilfish and Frostlass, stuff like that. So yeah, this could be a really cool set in terms of like just having a fast mon that can take advantage of entry hazards, specifically spikes from Qwilfish and Frostlass. It's going to be really, really cool to try out. Tail Slap for stab. Bullet Seed is there for the rock type, specifically stuff like Regirock. Knockoff is nice for you to getting rid of items and U-turn for momentum. Some other options that people have talked about is one was a potential Z Focus Blast for Pharaoh Seed. Another option was, instead of running Knockoff, or you would run like Technician Hidden Power Fire, which if Pharaoh Seed, which I'll talk about in a minute, if Pharaoh Seed is not running any special defense investment, like Life Orb, Technician Hidden Power Fire can 2-hit KO Pharaoh Seed pretty cleanly, which is not bad. You pretty much trade away guaranteeing getting 5 hits with Tail Slap, Bullet Seed, Rock Blast for the chance to 2-hit KO Pharaoh Seed, which it's fine in essence, but at the same time though, I really don't. I mean, going Hidden Power Fire, well, it also deals with Alolan Sandslash too. I was going to say that Hidden Power Fire seemed a little bit too niche to do with just one Pokemon, let alone 2. I think it'd just be easier to just have another Pokemon like the aforementioned Stoutland with Superpower to deal with Alolan Sandslash and Pharaoh Seed, just having a fighting type in general to pair up with Cinccino to deal with the normal types and the rock types, and even having dark type Pokemon like Alolan Persian, Skuntank can also help out with ghost types that are immune to Cinccino's Tail Slap, can also benefit from that as well. So yeah, this is a very straightforward max attack, max speed set, nothing real fancy in that regard. So moving on from Cinccino, the next mon we got in the tier ship, we regained Pharaoh Seed. We had Pharaoh Seed a while back, like late 2017, early 2018, before it rose to NU, but here we are again with Pharaoh Seed, pretty much thrusted into the same role as just being a utility mon. It gives the tier another spiker, it gives us another normal check, water check as it's a grass type, but This is a little bit of a tricky situation for Ferroseed in this case because of the fact that while like NU has like fully physically defensive sets to better check normal types, in this instance for PU, it's a bit more questionable in terms of the fact that Ferroseed's basically going to be asked to do a lot of stuff for a team if it doesn't already have said roles filled out. So specifically, first and foremost, this isn't going to be like the primary set. It's going to be like a crap ton of slashes here, and this EV spread here is not the recommended EV spread. This is just like a starting point because we just got these mons. Nothing is really set in stone in terms of a bona fide EV spread. This is just my own EV spread I came up with that's pretty much basically designed to remain as a normal check to stuff like Kangaskhan, while at the same time being able to take on special attackers like Auroros, Cryogonal, stuff like that. So the main set is more or less going to be like this. Stealth Rock, if a team doesn't already have a Stealth Rocker, if it does, you can opt for Spikes. Gyro Ball, just because to take advantage of Ferroseed's low speed. Leech Seed is nice for recovery, and Protect to scout out attacking moves like Choice Lock Mons such as Primeape. And it also benefits with Leech Seed's recovery, getting back some health in that regard. And yeah, and then other options, there's stuff like Thunder Wave, knockoffs here, other opposing Mons items. I believe Toxic is also an option, Seed Bomb for Grass Stab, so you can better check water types such as Caracosta, Gastrodon, Omastar, stuff like that, so you can better take those Mons on so they can't really set up for free, quote unquote. I still think Gyro Ball still has like a good 30-35% to those Mons, bar Gastrodon. But in terms of the EV spread I have on this set here, again, just want to point out this is not the finalized EV spread for Ferroseed. This is just my own personal EV spread that I've came up with. So basically, this is just the best way that I've found to reliably check normal type Pokemon like Stoutland. It could still take a Choice Banded superpower from Stoutland from full, and 100 EVs in special defense with max HP lets it take 2 hidden power fires from uninvested Cryogonal after Stealth Rock. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Eviolite to boost its defenses, and yeah, that's pretty much it for Ferroseed in terms of utility. Like, it's pretty much going to be more or less the same as it was in the past with a little bit of variation. There isn't any like there's like no Pyro or something like that to like threaten it out, but stuff like Primeape, even Simisear is a very underrated Mon, by the way, is still going to be seeing a lot of use. And yeah, so I feel like Ferroseed's going to be decent. Like, it's not going to be like, it's meta defining in terms of the fact that Pokemon now have to run like Hidden Power Fire to deal with said Ferroseed, so, or just like Hidden Power Fighting to get some sort of chip damage off. But I feel like Hidden Power Fire on specific Pokemon, stuff like the aforementioned Cryogonal, which already has Hidden Power Fire on it. So stuff like that can be a little bit more of an issue in terms of like checking Ferroseed. I still feel like Ferroseed it still have a fine role in the meta in terms of like just being a utility Mon, a hazard setter, and an annoyer with like Leech Seed, Protect, Stall, stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for Ferroseed. And then moving on to the last Pokemon we get from the tier shift, and that is Mega Abomasnow. So the PU tier officially gets its first Mega, unless you guys want to count what happened back in Oras when we got that whole cluster of the Mega Lopunny, Mega Beedrill, Mega Pidgeot. Good times. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So yeah, PU gets Mega Abomasnow mainly due to the fact that NU has their own other Ice-type Mega Evolution and Mega Glalie. So Mega Abomasnow fell out of favor just because of the fact that it's really got hindered by its low speed, holding it back more often than not. And I'm not gonna lie, this Mega Abomasnow is kind of in a weird position here because of the fact that, well, for starters, we have Ice-type wall breakers in the tier, the main one being Auroros. While Auroros isn't that common, the fact that Auroros is first and foremost faster. It's weaker than Mega Abomasnow, but it is faster, which is the more important factor. Of course, Mega Abomasnow does have access to Ice Shard to make up for its low speed tier, but I don't know. In terms of Mega Abomasnow, it's kind of in a weird position in my opinion, just because of the fact that, well, it's a very potent. It's gonna be a potent, like, it's a wall breaker, but at the same time though, you kind of wish it wasn't so ridiculously slow to be a wall breaker. Like, you have to invest a crap ton of speed just to outspeed certain mons, and this is more or less the NU EV spread. I just took out some HP to make this an odd number and threw the rest in special defense. But in any case, this more or less would probably be the standard Mega Abomasnow set, being mixed. Blizzard to take advantage of Snow Warning, Giga Drains for recovery, Focus Blast is there to deal with Cryogonal and Alolan Sandslash, and Ice Shard for priority to pick off stuff like Dodrio or Ikorio, stuff like that. I know Earthquake can also be run over Focus Blast to better deal with stuff like Alolan Sandslash. Well, it hits Alolan Sandslash without having to worry about Focus Blast missing, but you miss out on dealing with Cryogonal, which would then otherwise come in for free against Mega Abomasnow. So yeah, that's a bit annoying in that regard, so that's why I have Focus Blast. Earthquake can be used, obviously, if the team that Mega Abomasnow has ran on has a means of dealing with Cryogonal. So something like Primeape or not Girder, but Primeape or Hitmonchan basically would benefit from something like this. Speed is enough for uninvested base 50, specifically outspeeding Regirock. So you can hit that thing up with a Giga Drain before it can go for like Stone Edge or Rock Slide, something like that. And then max special attack, mild nature over haste over rash nature, since it's not designed to be taking physical hits anyway, and it will still die to stuff like Mach Punch from Hitmonchan. And with it being minus defense nature and not minus special defense nature, it can better switch in on stuff like Lantern, just as an example in that regard. And so this is pretty much the mixed Mega Abomasnow set. And then the other one, which is Swords Dance, this one was a little bit more harder to justify in terms of the fact that after an SD, it is very strong. It hits 726 attack. I mean, not 726. No, yeah, 726 attack, yeah. But the main issue with Swords Dance is the fact that you have to be Jolly Nature. Like, Adamant is still possible to do, as it does help you, it does boost the power of attacks, but, like, with running Jolly Nature max speed, you get to jump on, like, Defensive Jellicent, mainly Defensive Jellicent, so you can go for Wood Hammer before it can potentially hit you off with a Will-O-Wisp, or Burn or whatever. But so yeah, this is kind of a weird situation, just because of the fact that it's a fine breaker. Basically what you want to do with SD Mega Abomasnow, Ice Shard for priority, obviously. Wood Hammer is nice for getting the jump on especially defensive Pokemon expecting these the mixed variant of Mega Abomasnow. So something like Clefairy, which can easily tank, I believe it can take 2 Blizzards from Mega Abomasnow, is hitting up with a Wood Hammer instead and do easily 2 KO that thing. Earthquake is nice for stuff like Alolan Sandslash. And yeah, so the main thing you want to do with Mega Abomasnow is just try to in terms of like building, or what I've tried to do in terms of building with Mega Abomasnow with SD Mega Abomasnow at the very least, is to try to pair up Mega Abomasnow with something that can benefit from it breaking down bulkier, physically defensive mons. So a primary example of this would be SD Lycanroc, which helps it out a ton because of the fact that it does have Ice Shard. Again, Ice Shard for the Dodrio, but more importantly, it does weaken stuff like Mudsdale, Lycanroc, other bulky ground types, other bulky rock types, like the Regirock, which can take a Splintered Storm Shards from Lycanroc, and but this is a primary example. But in any case, SD Mega Abomasnow, it is doable. It may be a little bit harder, but at the very least, SD Mega Abomasnow is not designed to be the win condition. It's more designed to be a breaker of more fatter, bulkier teams that rely on specific mons being checked. I already talked about how Lycanroc appreciates something that wants those bulky ground types, something like Mudsdale. Other physically defensive Pokemon dealt with, Mega Abomasnow can definitely weaken those bulkier mons for the Lycanroc. It can even do instead of like Earthquake, maybe it can try to maintain some mixed coverage and run like Blizzard to get the jump on something like Tangela. That would also help it out a ton because of the fact that this set actually does not do anything to Tangela, and Tangela is bulky enough to take even +2 Splintered Storm Shards from Lycanroc from full. So yeah, that could be another thing to consider instead of Earthquake if your team already has a way of dealing with Alola Slash outside of Lycanroc, something like that. So yeah, that's just my own general opinion of the mons in general. How they fit into the meta has yet to be seen. It's only been a couple of days since the tier shift happened, but yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting to see how the PU tier in and of itself adjusts regarding this recent tier shift, with us gaining Cinccino, Ferroseed, and Mega Abomasnow, seeing how they fit into the meta, and then us, of course, losing Mesprit, how that will affect the tier. I mean, it already has in a big way. Like, pretty positive. A lot of people lost a good majority of their teams because of Mesprit being gone. But in any case, while this may seem detrimental to PU as a whole, it could also be seen as a new direction for the tier to like not get so caught up in the ways of just slapping Mesprit on teams and just calling it a day. So it'd be very interesting to see how the meta adjusts, what kind of other Pokemon benefited from Mesprit being gone outside of fighting type Pokemon. I do apologize if I don't go too in depth on other Pokemon that benefited from these tier shifts, but I just wanted to keep this brief. Like I said, it's been a while since I started doing recording, and I wanted to keep this as brief as I possibly could, just because I'm trying to ease my way back into recording. Don't want to put too much strain on myself as I'm now getting back into the groove of things. But yeah, this is going to be one interesting summer to say the least, in regards to this tier shift. And yeah, so let me know in the comment section below what you think of the PU rises and drops. What do you think would be what we think the meta will be like with these changes, and any other potential sets that you may think these mons may have in store, or something I didn't talk about that you might think I should go a little bit more detail into, but I will save that for another time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until the next time, this is Tone, signing out for now. Peace out.